Okay. Model, where's my model? One moment, please. Ah, yeah, there it is. Okay. And here I thought it was gone. Hi everyone. Welcome to the stream. A small problem at the beginning, but hey, my face is back. Hope everyone is doing well today. Let me know if you can all hear me. That'd be great. It would be nice if you would not mention my other Instagram. I kind of run my mouth on you, not to be mean or anything, but I usually don't tell people from the cosplay community about, well, what I create in the horror community and the other way around too, so it would be nice if you wouldn't drop my Instagram name, my cosplay Instagram name. At least you didn't do it fully, so that's great. Otherwise I'm going to mute you, because I don't want everyone to know, you know, my face and everything and where I live and other info. So yeah, that is the difference. Two different, yeah. Here I'm Pumpkin, and I would like to be called Pumpkin here, because that's how everybody knows me. So please, can I do something about this comment? Sorry, but I'll be removing your comment. Just out of safety for myself. Not to be mean. I hope you understand. Either way, I hope everyone is going to enjoy the stream. Everyone is doing well. Also that everyone can hear me, because I haven't heard any heads up yet. At least my VTuber model is working, so that's great. Yeah. Wait, I'm gonna send a message in the chat. Can you hear me? Because you know that would be absolutely terrible if I would be narrating a full-on story for an hour and nobody would be able to hear me talk. That'd be sad. Ah. Okay, wait, I checked it myself. No problems here. I can hear it. That's the great thing of having a phone and being able to check on yourself on your own stream. Alright, so, the story we're going to narrate today, or that I'm going to narrate for all of you, is The Rainbow Factory, which is written by Aurora Dawn. Let's see, can we? Yes, it works. Okay, so, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So, yeah, I think you guys will be able to read along with me for this. The Rainbow Factory is a My Little Pony creepypasta. It was requested to do a My Little Pony story a while ago, and I had this story laying around for at least a year. And I'll have to be honest, it was not easy to get a hold of Aurora, and I didn't know she had a Twitter. I didn't. So I've been trying last year to get a hold of her on the film fiction side. And there are not a lot of people who are still active there. But it worked. I got permission and we're going to narrate it. And if you guys like this and enjoy it, I'll be narrating the second story for it as well. Pegasus Device. Maybe some of you guys do know the gist of it because of the songs that were written by the Living Tombstone. I believe it was by the Living Tombstone. They were really cool, and I have them on my phone because they're amazing. I love it, and yeah, I have my own little creepypasta playlist. So, but let's get into it. With a My Little Pony story. Something totally different from what I usually do, but it's still horror. Alright. Now, Rainbow still isn't quite as nice as a story we knew of sugar and spice. There's long been rumors as to how exactly rainbows are made in Equestria. While the great amount of Pegasi are employed in the rainbow department of Cloudsdale Weather Corporation, almost all of them do the lower factory work. What is known is the great streams of spectra. The individual colors of the rainbow flow out through large gates down into the vast vaults. From there, workers carefully mix the spectra into coagulated rainbow pools that dart and run throughout the factory and surrounding city. Next, the mixture is pumped to the floor below, where the employees atomize it and store it until its active weather Pegasi deployed in the field. However, no one knows how the individual spectra are made. Supplies are never seen being brought in, leaving no clue as to what goes into a rainbow. Tourists visiting the factory are treated to featureless and foreboding wall with massive reinforced doors bearing entry to any pony at all times, while most of the facility variously signs and architecture is bubbling welcoming. The Rainbow Factory's upper floor is protected by harsh imagery of potential hazards and death, and the cloud wall is made not out of the clean white of the rest of the city, but of a black, quietly thundering fog. To become an employee of the upper Rainbow Factory means sacrificing any life outside their ominous walls. Workers are sworn to secrecy, forbidden from living inside the facility itself. Those few who manage to make it out, not in a body bag, were twisted and disturbed, too damaged to even bring themselves to talk about it. Many theories were proposed. Dark magic from corrupted unicorns, chemicals and environmental hazards that no sane pony could tolerate. And even throughout of other unknown system of Celestia, designed to create a spectra instead of controlling some celestial body. None of them could be further from the truth. But a rainbow's easier once you get to know it, with the help of the magic of a Pegasus device. Come on, Orion! We're going to be late for a final test! Scootaloo called to a friend of hers. She was older now, in her last year of flight school. She, like all the other Pegasi in school, were terribly nervous for the final test. Those that passed were granted freedom into the world, to find the cutie marks if they hadn't yet. and become working ponies. A little known, or at least little thought about fact, was of what happened to the foals that failed the test. While uncommon, 1 or 2 from every class genuinely didn't have it in them to perform the righteous acts and maneuvers. Those that failed the test were looked down upon in the worst of ways, shunned and hated. Cloudsdale had always bred a form of nationalism amongst the occupants. If you weren't the best or didn't show the potential of being the greatest, you weren't allowed to be part of the flock. The glorious collective, the Cloudsdalians. Oh, that's a fun word. The ponies of Cloudsdale referred to themselves as. Scootaloo moved a little to the side as Orion, a tall yet fairly skinny pony, settled next to her. He fluffed his light brown feathers and gave a worried attempt at a smile as he scanned his surroundings. They were sitting with each other, graduating Pegasi, in a large and open waiting room overlooking the Colosseum. Just visible in the distance was the Rainbow Factory, and Orion glanced at it and gulped. "What's the matter, Orion? Are you afraid of getting a dead-end job on the snow line?" Orion chuckled a bit, then closed his eyes and sighed. "No, it's just... I don't know. I don't think I can do this. What if I fail? What if I don't fail, but do just bad enough to be disliked by everyone? I don't know if I can take being deported. Why do we even go anyways?" Scootaloo gave Orion a friendly punch. "No one knows you, dolt. And we're not going to fail. Everyone here is going to be fine. I know I'm going to pass," she laughed. "Thanks to the tips from Rainbow Dash. I'm sure I'm gonna be fine." "Oh, yeah, sure. That's Hello, Pinterest. I'm not even sure if you guys saw that plingle came in on the side of the screen. Oh my god. Okay, back to the story. Where was I? Oh, yeah, sure. That reassures me. That's actually just as, if not even more reassuring, that the psychopathic hate every pony here seems to love to spread. "Quit panicking, Scatty-wings," Scootaloo teased. "The only one here, I think, that might fail is the yellow pony with the dark green mane. She's the one who was out sick for a month, you know?" "Oh, yeah," Orion remembered as he craned his head in the other pony's direction. "The one who had that bad case of hoof and wing? She looks pretty confident, though." "I suppose. We'll see," Scootaloo trilled, turning to look at the Rainbow Factory herself. It gave her chills. Not chills of fear, but of pride. "I hope I get some cool active weather job. Can you imagine? Everyone in Ponyville and Philadelphia staring up at me, going, 'There goes Scootaloo! She's such an amazing flyer! She's just as cool as Rainbow Dash!'" She smiled in excitement, forgetting her tension for the moment. "That would be something," I'll admit, mind you, just you coming from Cloudsdale. Who wouldn't be in awe? Exactly! Praise the flock! Praise the flock! Orion replied, reluctantly. Places, places, every pony! A massive, muscle-bound Pegasus walked towards the entrance to the Colosseum. We're going to do this by name. Your educators are on the side, just off the field. Do not, I repeat, do not fly too far west. If they lose sight of you for any reason, you'll be failed immediately. Take deep breaths, stretch your wings one last time. The test will consist of three sections. Weather clearing, agility, and final recovery. Clear the clouds, fly through the hoops, and now fly to the marked elevation. Close your wings for the last 3 seconds. Any less and you fail, but keep in mind there's no extra points for extra seconds. Finally, recover before you hit the cloud floor. Understood? Any questions? The instructor paused and carefully glanced at every pony in the room. Everyone's eyes were completely focused at him, and none were creased with confusion. Alright, Aurora Dawn, you're up first. Clear, fly, fall, complete. The yellow pony nodded and fronted up to the starting ramp with purpose. She stared at the watching judges, waiting for all 3 of them to nod. She took off with powerful force, bouncing the ramp as she did so. Every pony watched as Aurora quickly reached the starting altitude and then began to direct and purposely attack on the pre-positioned clouds. With expected timing and intelligent turnarounds, the sky was soon empty of any moisture. Scootaloo and Orion watched with open mouths as she pulled fast and tight turns, expertly shooting through each and every hoop. Finally, Aurora pulled herself up to the proper altitude, hovered and closed her wings. The group of students gasped as she started plummeting down towards the clouds, and together they counted breathlessly. 1, 2, 3. She sighed as they watched her wings open in the correct amount of time, collectively holding that relief. Suddenly, Aurora's wings whipped upwards, and the onlookers flinched in horror, as they all saw the loud hollow snap that was suddenly replaced by an unending, piercing scream. Many, like Orion, shielded their eyes with their wings, as others, like Scootaloo, could only watch terrified as a blur of yellow, green, and red plummeted into a cloud with a dull thump. Wasting no time, the instructor walked forward again, as the 3 judges simply pointed down and started shuffling papers around, speaking loudly as if nothing had happened. He called out again, "Daisy Fields, clear, fly, fall, complete." Scootaloo and Orion stared slack-jawed as another pony gulped and then walked towards another path and took off. The 2 turned back to the turf, on the cloud where Aurora landed, and stared. The wind blew the fragments were torn up from the collision away. They saw the shivering yellow body attempt to move, only to collapse with a cry. Faraday spots, clear, fly, fall, complete. Aurora still struggled to walk, wailing with every step. Her legs weren't broken. She could use them just fine, but it was obvious the pain from her wing joints and the loss of her future was crushing her. Scootaloo felt Orion shuffle uneasily, tears welling in his eyes and a frown formed on his face. Holiday shine, clear, fly, fall, complete. No one's coming to help her. Orion sheeted through the closed teeth. Scootaloo felt extremely sad for the yellow Pegasus, but couldn't see herself helping her. She would be failed herself and be sent away, far away from Cloudsdale, and any familiar place in Equestria, to a place where she and other failed students could never stain Cloudsdale's reputation. It was a terrible shame, but Scootaloo couldn't fail herself. She couldn't fail her friends, and she definitely couldn't fail Rainbow Dash. Not after the care and help she had given her for most of her life. Scootaloo blinked the tears from her eyes and focused herself to watch the completing students. One after another, they took off, successfully passing the test, and flew to the east gate under the judges, spot in the stands. That's all Scootaloo focused on. Pass the test, fly to the gate, live a happy life. Orion Solstice. Clear, fly, fall, complete. No. What? The instructor took a step back, his front leg left raised in the air. You can't just refuse your flight test. Get out there before you piss the judges off and ruin your life. No. Don't even pretend you care about my future if you don't care about hers. Orion defied, unsure of himself. You say you want me to get a good life, and yet you let those Phil suffer unbearable pain. Get the flock onto the field before I fill you myself, the instructor shouted menacingly. Fine! Orion snapped before walking onto the ramp. He stared at the judges, waiting for individual nods. And the second day came, he took off. However, long before the staring altitude. He turned sharply and landed gently next to Aurora. She looked up at him, blood running down her forehead and sides. His tears streamed down her face while she spoke. What are you doing? You'll be failed, like me. You'll get exiled. I'd rather be exiled from this place that treats ponies like this than live my life where others don't live theirs. Aurora smiled, happiness briefly replacing the sadness in her blackened, puffy eyes, until she stumbled again and intense pain ripped across her body. Orion leaned in close, using his wings to brace the yellow pony against himself. He glared up at the judges, projecting his hatred at them. They stared down, unaffected, and simply pointed down before looking back towards the ramp for the next contestant. Scootaloo stood shocked, hardly hearing her name called. She moved numbly up to the ramp, never taking her eyes off her friend. And the pony he sacrificed himself to help. After a brief moment, she shook her head, recovered her thoughts, and looked to the judges. Thoughts raced through her head as she watched them all nod. Oh, Celestia, what do I do? I can't let everyone know down, but I'll never see Orion again. I suppose. I hope he knew that risk when he did that. I'm sure he's thinking the same thing right now. She glanced at Orion. He wasn't looking at her. She took off, heartbroken. Instinct kicked in as a familiar rush of wind cooled her and blew her thoughts away. She stopped at the right altitude and then launched again, sensing and seeing every cloud, formulating the game plan on the fly. In a matter of a couple dozen seconds, the sky was clear. She did a quick loop in mid-fly, aiming at the first hoop. With a powerful beat of her wings, she propelled through the first ring, and then the second, and then the third, expertly turning and drifting with each one. She curved in towards the second last ring, at the bottom of the field. As she descended, she caught sight of Orion and Aurora, who were almost at the west gate now. Orion turned his head and smiled weakly. Scootaloo's focus shattered. Orion knew what he did. He cared about her. He missed her. And he'd never get to say goodbye. Scootaloo cranked into the bottom part of the ring, falling backwards several feet and hitting the ground. With a sudden intense flash of fear, she flipped herself onto her hooves and began flapping her wings, levitating off the ground. Maybe that didn't count as a failure, she thought. I can still fly. There was a distraction on the field. She spun around to the judges. 3 hooves pointed down. Scootaloo started crying there, tears welling up and blurring her vision. This wasn't right. This shouldn't have happened. None of it. Orion should have passed its test and cheering her on from the east gate. She shouldn't have looked at him. She should have focused on flying. But there was no room for excuses. Defeated, she slowly hovered towards Orion and settled down next to him. She looked at him through her purple eyes. He looked back, offering a smile. You did a good job. Scootaloo dropped her head and sobbed. She then walked around Orion, lifted a wing of her own and helped Aurora walk to the west gate. Before them stood a long, unlit wall, with only a cheap sign stuck to the wall notifying Test Phillies. To proceed down the hall, they waited only briefly to gather themselves and prepare for where they would be taken, and then all stepped forward together. Alright, small break. I saw a couple of people coming in. Hi CCG! Fun to see you. Welcome to the Scream. Yes, stream. Yes, words. Nice. Hope you're doing well. And hi to Infinite Skyosis. Fun to see you here. Nee, want ik ben aan het streamen.
Ja, hey.
Nee, dat had ik aangegeven.
Wil je even helpen?
Sorry,
Nou, het is vraag.
maar ik heb het aangegeven. And he leaves the door open. Great. Alrighty. Let's continue. Oh, almost hit my microphone, I think. Okay. Let's delve deeper into the rainbow philosophy, far beyond that of Cloudsdale's mythology. It's easy to judge that the floating city, with its alluring decor and social psychology, against an empty carriage at the end of the lonely hall were 3 imposing ponies, leaning in disinterested and bored poses. One of them happened to glance up as the sorry-looking trio stumbled out into the open. They were on the bottom edge of the Colosseum, the vast rolling hills and plains of Equestria, visible far below. "Hey, boss, we got some dwell-wolfless Pegasus," the first one called to him. Even bigger pony on the other side of the carriage. "I suppose it's get to work time, is it?" "Cool it, hot shot. There may be more too." Nah. I was the last student to go." Scootaloo spoke in sobs. Oh, that was Scootaloo. Orion could only hang his head. It's... She paused, and then breathed deeply, determined to remain as strong as she could. "It's just as 3. Aurora's wings... they're broken. She needs help." "Ain't that just a crying? Shame, is it? What's it to us? All the better she don't come flying back to us no more." Thank you, word. "We may have failed a damn test, but that doesn't mean we're not worth keeping alive." Scootaloo shouted in a flash of rage. She was determined to hold to as many dignity as she could. Alright, sheesh. Hey, Patches, doctor her up before we head out. I don't want any blood on them seats. Anyways, I just washed that thing. You are the 2? In the cart?" Orion and Scootaloo hopped into the carriage and got as comfortable as they could on the hard seats, but made sure to leave room for Aurora as soon as the third of the large ponies finished bondaging her wings. Aurora carefully stepped onto the vehicle and then lay down on the bench at the back. Scootaloo inched closer to her and leaned down to talk as the door to the carriage slammed shut. The boss pony was inside the back, standing by the door, watching each of them. "So," Scootaloo began quietly, trying not to speak too loud. "You're Aurora. I'm Scootaloo. I'm sorry we had to meet like this. Any meeting of a friend's is welcome meeting." Aurora spoke gently, with sincerity in her eyes. "We did our best. That's all we can say. That's all of any of us can say. Who's to say that the city of the deported isn't good one anyways?" The thought struck Scootaloo as she considered it. No one was ever told about where the Pegasi were brought. Most ponies considered it to be some odd land, like where the zebras hailed from. That made Scootaloo realize something even more profound. Hey, if where we're taking is where Sakura's from, then there's got to be a way to get back. It's not as if we're banned from Equestria. Fluttershy, a former friend of Rainbow Dash, she's a Pegasus who lives at Ponyville. Rainbow Dash told me we couldn't speak to her because she never passed flight school. She never took the test. But they've never come to take her away. Exactly, Aurora agreed, nodding. Orion overheard and offered his thoughts. I think the reason we're sent so far away is because no pony from Cloudsdale ever wants to admit that someone who failed flight school could come to the city. A fucking horrible place now that I think of it. I never want to go back. Maybe that's why no Pegasus ever comes back. Just because they don't like Cloudsdale. You goddamn workless ponies can honestly call yourself Pegasi. Boss spoke from the door. He was swaying ever so slightly as the carriage was lifted and began to move to an unknown location. Useless failures, is that what you are? No pony comes back from the SR, regardless of reason. Can't even pass your fucking test. You three make me sick. Scootaloo jumped up from his seat, lifted herself into the air with her wings, and dove legs first at Boss. You! Shut your Tartarus up about us! You have no right to treat us and others like this! Boss raised a hoof and backhanded Scootaloo out of the air onto the floor. I treat you however I want. You hardly classify as ponies to Cloudsdale, or any of Equestria, for that matter. Sit the fuck down and shut up until you get your destination. Where are we being taken anyways? It's not like you can tell anyone now. I'm sure as the deliverers, you guys should know. Orion cautiously reasoned. Damned if I know. We hand this carriage off to the ponies and suits, and we get a bag full of bits to keep quiet about the whole thing. It's how it's always been for 1,000 of years. The three fours huddled together again, scared for the unknown fate. They kept quiet as they waded through the unbearable trip, all lost in their own thoughts. Friends, family, loved ones, pets. All would never see them again, and some would never find out why. An hour passed, then another. Finally, the uncomfortable quiet was broken by a sudden lurch as the carriage stopped in its flight. Ah, the boss smiled. There's my stop. You ponies, play nice now. Have fun where the Tartarus you're sent to. The carriage door shuffled open, and Boss hopped out with a gust of cold wind. It was night now, with hardly any light to see at all. Scootaloo stared outside and noticed another figure staring in. It was dressed in a shadowy suit. It still dyed in a natural black. Its face was covered by a dark, loose-fitting mask, concealing its mane. All that were visible were rose-colored eyes, staring empty at the three ponies inside. They stopped on Scootaloo momentarily, indifferent, but she stared back. A second passed. The dark pony slammed the door shut and the carriage took off once again. At least we can talk now, Aurora whispered in the dark, but they had nothing to talk about. But with all great things comes a great responsibility, that of Cloudsdale being weather stability. The carriage finally shuddered to a stop. The three desolate fools blinked their eyes awake, all of them having resolved to conserve energy for whatever came next. With a loud sharping noise the doors shook and swung wide open. Several more ponies, obscuring by those same masks and suits, moved around the area. Scootaloo blinked against the light from what she was seeing. They were in Cloud's building. And as her eyes adjusted, she noticed more details. Several of the cloaked ponies were rushing around, some holding clipboards, some carrying briefcases, and other important-looking items were on backs. The complex was full of machinery and signs. Pipes ran along the ceiling, and a loud, consistent hum rang in the background, occasionally joined with other industrial sounds, such as crashes and alarms. Scootaloo gasped. This place, the architecture, it's also familiar. I think we're in a weather factory. Orion frowned. That can't be right. We're traveling for way too long. We've got to be far away from Equestria by now. Not to mention the city. Actually, Scootaloo might be right. Aurora mused. I noticed it was maybe some amount of travel time from where the carriage drive swapped to here, but that was from the Colosseum to here. But I don't know. I'm confused. Maybe it was just a coincidence. Welcome, mules, a large and powerful voice commanded. Several of the suited ponies moved to make way for a deep, dark red Pegasus, dressed in a white lab coat. Your dignigrades are probably wondering where exactly you are. Stupid fools. You're still in Cloudsdale, the Rainbow Factory, to be correct. Allow me to show you around. What's going on here? Do you expect us to use us as slaves? Because I'd rather be deported, thanks. Scootaloo yelled. Orion and Aurora got off their seats and stood behind Scootaloo, nodding in agreement. Like your failures have a choice? You'll be here for the rest of your lives. Oh, I'm sorry, where are my manners? I am Dr. Atmosphere. My degree isn't a medical one, I assure you. In case you were picturing some dreadful surgery going on behind the scenes. Strange how many lifeless beggars I get at the idea. No, my degree is in engineering. I'm one of the directors of the corporation. I'm sure you've all had the tour of the lower factory. No? The three ponies nodded slowly, unsure of what was going on. Excellent! Who can tell me where the tour begins? Orion spoke up first. Where the spectra comes from upstairs and is mixed. Very good. What a pity you're utterly useless to the flock. You could have been a smart addition. Dr. Atmosphere smiled sadistically and patted Orion on the head. But today, we're on the upper floor. Please follow me and don't get too far behind, or one of my helpers will be forced to encourage you. With that, he winked at the suited ponies. Nodding, three of them at the rear leaned forward and jabbed each of the young Pegasi with a liquid thunder-tipped rods, shocking them to the ground. Dr. Atmosphere whinnied in laughter as they all yelped and fell, continued into a soft chuckle as they all stood up again. Scootaloo blinked tears from her eyes and shook herself, trying to lose the tingling numbness in her nerves. She turned and quickly looked at each of the masked ponies, catching each of them in the eye when she could. None of them were the rose-eye pony from the carriage. Begrudgingly, she started walking behind the red engineer. You simply must be careful in this factory, Dr. Atmosphere began, in a tone not unlike Mandy tour guides in the lower floors. There's plenty of nooks and crannies, events and vast no one could fall into. One must be careful not to hurt themselves. After all, we're all already hopeless as it is. One more so and even we couldn't use you. He glanced behind himself, maliciously, as the 3 fours frowned, insulted by his words. They were walking down the hallway, with vibrating machines and assembling lines lining away, occasionally ducking under low-hanging wires and carefully stepping over steam pipes. As they walked through the building, become cooler and cooler, all 3 were scrutinizing, studying, desperately looking for a way out. They couldn't see any. Now, let me tell you a story. Cloudsdale is where the weather is made. Without us, the rest of Equestria would starve, freeze, drown, and generally be a not very happy place. That gives a special honor one can't be tamed by. Incompetent fools like you. How could Equestria look up to any trust us if Pegasi like you are flying around, wearing the Cloudsdale name? No. We needed to do something with all of you, and then we got the delicious idea. One day, over 1,000 years ago, there were some smart ponies back then, I'll say. You don't find too many of them these days, but I digress, he chuckled. Here now, through these doors, quickly now, before even more encouragement is supplied. Dr. Atmosphere opened a grey, heavy-looking door in a wide corridor. Offered a hoof inside. Scootaloo stared up at him. He glanced at the suited pony. Scootaloo and the others walked inside, and he laughed again. Enjoy the rest of your pitiful life. And with that, he slammed the door closed, and all turned and looked at the big room they had been led into. It was fairly open and empty, almost like a theater room. At one end of the room there was a particular-looking machine. It was large and cubic, almost featureless save for 8 clear glass tubes that jutted out from the sides like spider legs. At the top of the box was a single, massive hopper, red with rust despite the rest of the machine appearing shiny and clean. Even further above were a system of chains and gears that hung loosely off a length of scaffolding. Down on the floor, a small collection of defeated, crying ponies sat idly chatting. Those uniforms they're wearing, those that are from other flight schools across town, Aurora informed, sounding shocked. And those other ponies sitting over there? See, I remember a trip we went once to Levitating Arcus private school. I remember them from a trip. So, this is where all the failures go. Not deported, but forced to work forever. Orion whined. In exchange for helping someone, he doomed himself and his friends to a life of servitude. Scootaloo reached a reassuring wing over and lifted his chin with it. She smiled at him, sympathetic. At least we don't have to go through it alone, she reassured. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the group of test failures. One pony from an unidentified school took off, heading towards one of the doors on the scaffolding. Immediately, 2 workers launched at rapid speed and both clipped the wing away with the tasers. The fall spasmed in the air and dropped like a stone. He landed with an audible crack and broke into a viable burst of twitching. All the other ponies jumped back, staring horrified as their friend. They watched, hopeful for a long time. He didn't move. Some cried softly, but most others turned away, too far shocked to feel anything. I guess that option's out, Aurora quietly said, to no one in particular. But he can't fly now anyways, Orion questioned. That medic guy, Patches or whatever he was called, he popped my wings back into the joint and bandaged them up with my skin tool. I won't be winning any races, but I think I can fly again. They shuffled forward and joined a group of ponies, looking at each other with understanding sorrow. Eyes front and center. Oh, a quotation. Eyes front and center, you implement moles, one of the workers shouted. After the previous display, no one challenged that order, and they stared at the scaffolding just as one of the doors opened. Alright, halfway through the story, so I'm going to check the chat again. Hi, Doug Blastoise. Hi, I haven't seen you here in the stream yet. Welcome if you're new. Hope you're having a fun time. And if you're indeed new, welcome to the castle. Grim narrator, everyone brings back Rainbow Factory. I'm happy to see it make a comeback. Oh my god, more people narrating it nowadays. That's amazing. I'm happy to hear that. I'm rewatching a lot of old shows, so I thought it would only be normal to, narrate a story from a show that I love to watch. One of my favorite grimdarks. If you feel yourself a choice, you will be here for the rest of lives. Oh wait, I don't know if my camera still picks me up, so I'm gonna turn on a little light. Here, one moment please. Yeah, that would work. Calibrate, yes. That should do. I should be able to move my face again. Happens when it gets dark. Yeah. Everyone who is new or just got in, welcome. I'm currently reading or narrating The Rainbow Factory. Halfway through the story. So let's continue, shall we? How you ask, are you up to the task? To which the answer is in a simple facility. That was my chair. A few official-looking Pegasi walked into a scaffolding and turned to look down to the group with disgust. Dr. Atmosphere stood onto the small podium, sat up in the center, began speaking loudly and clearly. By now, you have all clearly determined that you are not going into exile. There's no departure. There never was. You are in the Rainbow Factory. You will never leave the Rainbow Factory. And while you may be called useless, that's also not entirely true. You're worthless to the flock as a pony, but you still have purpose. Purpose to all the ponies in this land, far and wide. You get to help us make rainbows. Beautiful, magical rainbows. Doesn't that excite you? He grinned, ecstatically, taking in all the disgusted looks from every foal on the floor below him. I thought so, he chuckled. It is just such an honor, you know. It leaves every pony entrusted with a task speechless too. Now, do we have any volunteers? Again, every pony below glad with hate. One brave foal, a light pink one from Levitating Arcus, walked forward with a few steps and yelled. How could you ever get away with this? How could Celestia, or even Luna, know about this and tolerate it? This is slavery. It's torture. I think you'll find it's more than that. A second official pony walked out of the shadows and onto the podium. It was still obscured by a suit and mask, but Scootaloo noticed that it was the same rose-eyed pony from before. Dr. Atmosphere walked off to the podium and allowed the second to talk. Scootaloo watched more intently now. Her voice was familiar, as she focused, trying to place it. 1,000 years ago, when Celestia banished Luna from Equestria and sent her to the moon, she was charged with 3 tasks. She originally was in charge of raising the sun and showing the land with rainbows. But with the moon being additional task, she had to hand down the responsibility of rainbows. Celestia entrusted the Pegasus of Cloudsdale to make the rainbows for her from now on. For the first dozen years, we were given powerful unicorns to help create spectra. Spectra is pure pigment, pure color. Everything is full of spectra, but you can't just harvest it. You can never spectrate color from an object. So it was made artificially with magic. The masked pony never took her eyes off the brave pink one. That is, until our top engineers made a breakthrough. They discovered an ingenious way to extract pigment, and it was beautiful. Even a simple machine could do it. But it couldn't be done with just anything. The conditions had to be right. I don't care how you justify this. This is wrong. The pink Pegasus screamed, growing angrier by the minute. The mysterious pony wiped off her mask, unrevealing more than her rose eyes. Her skin was a light cyan. Her mane was a gorgeous rainbow. Several of the fillies gasped. Scootaloo's knees weakened as it hit her. It was Rainbow Dash. Scootaloo's thoughts raced through her mind, and the room started spinning. It couldn't be. An evil twin. Maybe. Perhaps a neglected sister. Rainbow Dash couldn't be this evil. She was a friend, her mentor, her only family. If even not by blood. How was all she could think? It had to be the live ponies. Only in ponies where magic and spectra run freely together. Rainbow Dash threw her head back and laughed manically. Only then could the spectra be separated. And it was such a beautiful idea. Such a wonderfully horrible idea. It worked so well we could create exponentially more rainbows of better quality, of real spectra. And it finally gave us a way to prevent Cloudsdale from being tainted by those horrible Pegasi didn't even fly. Scootaloo couldn't take it, while all the other ponies were exclaimed by their disgust and fear, running and screaming from where they came in, backing off as workers surrounded them and herded them back to the center of the floor. Scootaloo couldn't take it anymore. I thought you loved me! She wailed, cutting Rainbow Dash's laughter short. Huh? Rainbow Dash turned, spotting the amber orange Pegasus as she wailed. I thought you loved me. How could you do this to me? I thought you cared for me after all this help. All my life you've treated me like a little sister. And I treated you like my big sister. You were my big sister. To me, you were the only family I ever had, and you knew it. Tears were pouring down her face now, obscuring her vision again. Her throat hurt from crying and shouting, but she couldn't stop. After everything, you're just going to let me die? I tried so hard for you. She stared at the floor for a moment. Everyone was silent. Then Scootaloo looked up slowly, and while she couldn't see for the tears in her eyes, she looked straight at Rainbow Dash, straight into her rosy eyes, past them, and deep into the Rainbow Dash herself. I thought you loved me. Rainbow Dash returned the look. Her eyes revealed no emotion, no love, no care, no empathy. Slowly, however, they glared at Scootaloo. Pure seething hate erupted from Rainbow Dash's mouth. She screamed in return. I did love you. I tried so hard for you. I taught you everything I knew, in hopes you would pass your test. You had it in you, kid. I knew that what they did here. Ever since I worked my way up here and got promoted to director, all thanks to your urging, I learned a lot about this place. Why do you think I pushed so hard to train? Got so mad when you skipped practice? How do you... She trailed, shaking her head, remembering her anger suddenly. I tried, alright? It was up to you to save yourself. I have no idea who is screaming this. If it's either Scootaloo or Rainbow Dash. I'm going with Rainbow Dash. I tried, alright. It was up to you to save yourself. You didn't just fail yourself, you didn't just fail Cloudsdale, you failed me. You failed me. And that's the worst thing you could have done. You aren't just dead to Cloudsdale, you're dead to me. The room tilted as Scootaloo tried to comprehend what she was told. Her mind broke, unable to focus on anything. She stumbled slightly until Orion held open a wing, and she clung to it, steadily. Rainbow Dash noticed this, and pointed and yelled with more fury. You can't have happiness. You ruined me, and now I'll ruin you. Workers, the brown one, there, him first. No! Scootaloo, Aurora and Orion all jumped. Suited ponies cornered Orion, pushing the other two to the side. He tried to leap out of the way, but one of the stallions spun and kicked at him. A hoof connected to the shoulder, and Orion collapsed with a shout. "Get back!" More workers yelled at Aurora and Scootaloo as they dragged the whimpering Orion to the front of the room. The giant machine at the back started humming to life. The assembly of chains lifted up to the top and moved towards the floor. As they dropped it, it became clear that they weren't chains, but shackles, and the workers clasped Orion into them. Braving a look up, he turned to Scootaloo. "Don't worry, Scoots. I love you. Goodbye. Goodbye, Orion." Scootaloo gasped. I love you too." With that, the chains pulled tight and lifted the brown Pegasus all the way up to the gears. The chains grew taut, and stretching each of Orion's limbs straight up and down. "We find the machine works better if the ribs are broken," Rainbow Dash explained, empathetically, as the chains spun around in opposite directions. Sorry for the moment's silence. There might be that this will be the last chapter for today. I'm not sure, but I'm going to finish this small part. We're almost finished with the story. I know there's only 5 pages left. But I think dinner is almost ready. That's why I was silent to hear if there was anyone calling. Sorry. Yes. His screams almost covering the echoing pop and shattering noises. 1 or 2 jagged bones tore through the sides, and his yells faded to a slow, quiet rattle of breath. The chains untwisted, and the shackles opened, dropping the shattered pony into a single opening. With horror, Scootaloo watched, her brain overcome with what was happening, detached herself from all emotion. She noticed that the top of the machine wasn't rusty. It was blood. Blood, just like what was being tossed up from the mangled remains of Orion as the rest of his body was swallowed into a great machine. Alternating rows of side-like blades drug him down until only one hoof directly straight up could be seen. And then there was nothing. As the tubes of green and red spectrum started spewing their brilliant colors, her vision started to fade, and the last thing she noticed was Aurora's concerned, broken voice, saying Scootaloo's name as she flopped to the side. Okay, I'm gonna check the chat for a bit. I did an audio drama of it last year. Oh, that's fun. I didn't know, Graham Narrator. That's awesome. I'll have to listen to that as well. Maybe send a link to it, then I can listen to it. Dark Blastoise, you're doing a great job narrating it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Lol, he hasn't died yet. Tired? A little bit. It's almost 7 in the evening. So I thought it'd be the best to catch as many of you by narrating in the evening. It's around dinner time, so that's why I'm probably going to cut the stream short. Sorry about that. We are already an hour into the stream, so I'll be finishing it up next time and sticking Pegasus device to it. Then we can just make it a series and make the next stream maybe a little longer, or cut it in 3 streams. I don't know. We shall see. It'd be fun. Yeah. If you read Pegasus Device, you'll be in for a marathon. It's twice the size of the Rainbow Factory. Okay, then yeah, we'll definitely cut that into parts. Be aware, it's graphic. I know, I am aware. I have read the stories years ago, but you know, that's why I also wanted to narrate them. I know it's not exactly Halloweeny, but it's fun. It's fun. But yeah, we can make multiple parts of this, and yeah, it'd be fun to do a marathon to narrate both of the stories in one go, but that would be absolutely impossible. Unless you guys would be up for it, and if we could stream and continue another time this week, that'd be fun. I think it would be super fun. I think dinner is already on the table, so that's why. And then we can just continue the Rainbow Factory series with Pegasus Device like stuck to it. And we can just, you know, make it a series on live stream. Lol, my audio drama is graphic. We didn't shy away to underplay the goal. No, because we don't cut away the stuff. Oh, that's great. That's amazing. Did you use, what's it called? Sound effects and stuff for it? I really need one of those keypads so I can, you know, click sound effects for, you know, a stabbing sound, blood, screaming, and oh man, that would be super fun. Plingle, what was that? I need to know. I don't know what that was. Hello, what happened? Grim Narrator has subscribed. Welcome to the castle. Hope you'll have a nice time here. Yeah. Welcome to the castle. And also, for those who haven't click the subscribe button yet, it's right there. Of course, everyone is free to do whatever they want. But you know, what if? I mean, you could. Yes. But yeah, thank you. That means a lot. Yee, it's relaxing here. Aww. Yep, sound effects artist and voice actors. I just narrated it and voiced 2 extras. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. I want to do that again, like do one of those big collabs with a lot of narrators. And put a lot of, you know, sound effects and stuff in it. It takes so long to edit, but they're fun to do, especially if you can work together with your friends. Oh, also a great reminder, I still have to record a couple of lines for a friend of mine. Probably have to do that soon. Not today. I'll see if I can do that tomorrow, though. But yeah, glad that you all came. I'll be finishing the last part of the story next time. I hope I can do that somewhere this week. I have a couple free days, so that would be absolutely fantastic. If I could, you know, stream or do the next stream on Halloween itself, how amazing would that be, you know? Yeah. Or finish the story on Halloween, that would be even more amazing. Yes! Yes! I'm going back to this screen so you can see my fruitiful face. I hope everyone is doing well. You'll get the ending. I'm not going to be one of those terrible people on TikTok who's gonna see, oh, subscribe for part 2 and then not upload it. I hate that as well, and I hate that I can't finish the story. Because then I do have to say, tune in next time for the ending. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I know, it's dumb. But yeah, next time we're also going to make a little Start with Pegasus device. Promised, promised. Also, since that is the next story was planned, I want you guys to start brainstorming what book you want me to start narrating. I have a couple of ideas. Frankenstein, Dracula, The Count of Monte Cristo. Books like that, you know, the classics. Also, Winnie the Pooh is also for, you know, free royalties. So if you guys want me to narrate that, I can. I'm allowed legally. They're making a horror movie of it too. Isn't that just amazing? Yeah! A Winnie the Pooh horror movie. I got to see that in the cinema. I might have to ask someone to come along with me because that's going to be so freaking funny. But yeah, I'll probably put a poll on Twitter, so go ahead and follow me there as well. My ad is, you know, just hanging above my head along with my Twitter, but I'll put it along with my Instagram. Yes. Oh my god, I can feel that it's late. Yes, my brain is still working. It's somewhere in this pumpkin head. Yes, I just have to shake it and then it will work. Yes! I wonder if I shake it enough, will it become not a slushy? No, that's when you put ice in it. I feel like an absolute idiot. Something sweet to bite. Well, yeah. I mean, try it. I'm not saying that I allow you, but you can always try. Oh god, I hate all those like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, I hate it too. People are free to do whatever they please. Of course, I'm gonna joke about it, but I hate it even more to be like, oh my god, go and follow me if you want to see part 2 or she did. Yeah, that. Because you see that a lot on TikTok. Because then they like come up with this enormous title like you have with Nosleep stories, and then they don't give the clue to the story. And that clue never comes. Because usually it's an audio that's being used by so many people. And it's smart because people want to watch the ending. But then again, it's also kind of stupid. Because I really don't enjoy those audios. I don't know if anyone else is on TikTok, but yeah. Yeah, maybe it's just me. I can't believe I'm an hour late. Yeah. Hi, Pimp Demon. Yeah, you missed the start of the story. I'm gonna finish it next time. hopefully somewhere this week. But you can scroll it back and listen to it. I got 3/4 into the story. Yes. So, coming! Told ya. Food's on the table. Sludge. Yes, drink the sludge from my brain. No, you guys don't want that. Promise. Martini. Ooh. I mean, a little bit of booze wouldn't be too bad in this brain. But yes. No, I'm not a fan of TikTok. I like longer videos. Yeah, I can understand that. Definitely could understand that. Ja, weet ik kom eraan. Okay, but I'm holding myself up here. I'm gonna go. So yeah, thank you guys all for coming to the stream. We're gonna finish the story next time. So yeah, thank you all for coming. Goodbye, have a nice evening.